Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today I'd like to visit a country I've not been to for a couple of years, and that country is Canada, and take a look at one of their newer IMPs. So let's get this on a table and see what this pack contains. And so, as you can see, I now have here on the table this Canadian IMP. This particular one is the menu 20, and it is the beef and vegetable stew. Now this has changed slightly since the last one I had. The last one I had came in the paper bag. This is now like a Mylar backed plastic bag. It has got the contents, ingredients on the back there, and a few nutritional facts and values. I don't know if you can see that, both in English and French. So looking at this new pack, there is a little tear open strip there at the top, so we should just give that a pull and it just opens across the top nicely. So what do the slightly newer Canadian IMPs now actually contain? So first off, we notice it's a resealable bag with a plastic liner, which is much better than my old ones I had. So straight off the bat, we have the beef and vegetable stew. So nice little retort pouch there. We have the old hamburger bun or bread. I've used these before. I think they're one of the best bread items in any ration. We also have some peanut mix, so mixed peanuts. We have a fruit punch drink, so ice tonic drink powder. We have 2 of those. There is some peanut butter. We have a peanut butter energy bar, so lots of peanut butter themed components. There's quite another heavy pack there. This is the sliced peaches, so some canned style fruit. Just move things around a little bit so it all fits on. We also have some strawberry jam to go with the PB, so the peanut butter and jam, PB and J. We have a Nescafe sweet and creamy, so an all-in-one coffee. We have the Canadian spork, which they are much like the US MRE spoon, but with the sporked teeth. We have a little set of book matches. There is some Tabasco sauce, a couple of little Tic Tacs, a little few breath mints. There's a beverage bag, very similar to the US MREs. Let's just slot that in there. A serviette or recycled style wet tissue. And there is a compressed towelette. I know these have been around for a long time, but I've not had a Canadian IMP for a long time. This is the first one of these I've come across. I've seen them in other reviews, but I've not personally had them. So this is the contents of the Canadian IMP menu 20. So let's get these out on a tray and see what they look and taste like. And as you can see, I now have here laid out on the tray the contents of this Canadian IMP, and I'm going to start where I normally like to start, that is making some of the drinks. These require a little bit of preparation, so I'm going to start off with a Nescafe sweet and creamy. So I assume this is similar to the UK's 3-in-1, including the sugar and the creamer, just under a slightly different name, and it looks just the same there, nice powder. And using the Canadian spork, which is very, very reminiscent of the US MRE in strength and size. I'm just going to mix a mug of coffee. Now these usually make a full mug, so I'm going to go with a full mug. Just prevent it being too sweet and too creamy. And a little bit of tissue here, just wipe that spoon. I'm then going to take a look at one of the fruit punches. There are 2 of these, each one making 250 millilitres. I have the other one here, but I will only be making one in this case. So it's a 350 ml glass, so not quite a full glass, about 2/3. And it's just a pink looking powder, very fine there. And again, we'll just give that about 2/3 of a glass, about 250 ml approximately. Obviously you can always add, you can't take away, and there's nothing worse in my opinion than a watery drink. So I'm going to keep going round. I've had the mains boiling for 10 minutes, so I'm going to open all the other components first. So take a look at the hamburger pane bread, or the burger bun. I've had these before, and I do think these are some of the best shelf stable bread units out there. It's a shame others can't follow. I'm just going to take the corner off the strawberry jam and the peanut butter. Bring in my old friend here. Just open those ready. There's the PB. Now the jam. Moving along still, we've got this energy bar, 65 grams of peanut butter flavoured energy bar, 270 calories, mainly sugar and similar energy type things like glucose syrup. So it's a nice peanut butter flavoured energy bar. Now I've been looking at these peanuts. These peanuts are sugar coated again, so it's contents sugar, icing sugar, glucose, maple syrup. So again, a very high sugar content this meal. Let's get that open. So again, they just look like they're sugar coated nuts. They do look very nice, but they look like a sweet rather than a savoury nut. I'm going to keep on going round, and we have these sliced peaches. Again, I think these are in sweetened syrup, not just plain juice. With all the sugar that's in it, it'd be nice to see them in just plain juice, but it is a good way of getting some fruit, even if the sugar content is enhanced a little bit. So the peaches. And last but not least, we'll take a look at this beef vegetable stew. As I said, I have a bowl here, and because I have and because I can, I'm going to use that. It makes for better demonstration and also easier cleanup for me. And these are going to form my late lunch. I'm a little bit later than normal today, so this is going to form my lunch. I don't like waste. I do eat all my rations. If I like them, I eat them. Obviously there's been about one, I think, that I've not finished, and that was not a particularly nice ration. I don't think anyone would have eaten it. So where do we start? I think I'm going to start with the coffee. So this is a 3-in-1 coffee, Nescafe. Yeah, it's a standard 3-in-1 coffee sachet. We have these here in the UK. Very sweet. There's a lot of sugar in this one. The Nescafe tastes slightly different. The coffee is slightly more bitter than the UK version, but it's sweet, it's creamy. If you don't have sugar and sweetener, there might be an issue, but like many of these miniature rations, they're more interested in getting your calories in, so the addition it's there, you don't have to drink it. But I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. It is just highly sweetened, highly milked coffee. middle of the road, average. Most people know what Nescafe is. It's sold around the world. I'll take a look at this fruit punch drink. Tastes just like the US MRE, but the US MRE don't mix half as well. For me, there is a slight marzipan taste in the background. It's quite tart. It does make you draw your cheeks in a little bit, but at the same time it's sweet also. Good mixture, sweet and sour. Very similar to the US fruit punch, but without the clagging. The US one always seems to form big undissolvable lumps and also coats the glass with a coloured chemical. This is not doing that, so there is some slight differences, but it is a refreshing, if not artificial, drink there. I'm wondering where to start now. I think I'm going to go straight to the mains. With the mains you could also have a bit of bread, so I'm going to just tear that piece of the bun and I'll try that first. Shelf stable white wheat bread. What can I say? Quite dry, but it is tasty, enjoyable, and it's a nice shelf stable style bread. But we're going to take a look at the stew. So there's nice chunks of beef, nice chunks of potato, nice peas, carrots, all in a thick gravy. So I'll have a taste a little bit of the gravy with the carrots and peas first. Typical canned tin style stew. I think most countries have a version of. We certainly do here. You can get stew in cans. Potatoes are soft. Plenty of salt, plenty of pepper. For the first time ever, I might even dare say slightly too much salt, which is unusual for me. I do love salt, but this is very salty. The meat has some texture, like pulled beef, pulled pork, but very soft. Wow. High salt content. Very high salt, unusually. Almost wondering if something went a little bit wrong in the factory making this batch. Very salty. Eatable, but there's a high salt content. Also, you could use a little bit of the bread to help mop up those juices and bulk up. Bread can certainly be used that way. Mop up the juices and bulk up the stew. Also helps disguise some of that salt, but there is plenty of meat, plenty of vegetables. Nice, tasty, warming, comforting stew, if just slightly on the salty side. For me to say that, I think a lot of people would think too much salt, but it's still enjoyable, tasty, warming, comforting. Let's refresh my palate there again. Now, after your main meal, you might fancy a little bit of the pudding. So starting with peaches, we have standard canned style peaches in a light syrup, so that would be sweetened. Let's have a little taste of those. So exactly what they are. I think most people would have had canned or tinned fruit. Just standard regular canned tinned fruit quality. That said, nothing wrong with that. It is in sweetened syrup and it is quite sweet. I'm surprised. Since my last Canadian IMP, which was in the paper bag, this seems to have a lot more sugar. A lot more sugar. I don't know if that's intentional or how things are now, but there's a lot more sugar, which is surprising. Moving along to these peanuts. Again, because of the sugar content and everything else, I think it might have been better to have had these as a savoury, as a salted peanut. But Sugar coated peanuts. Sweet, crispy, crunchy. Not something I've had before. I've had peanut M&Ms, obviously I've had sweetened peanuts, but not like this. These are sweetened with a glaze. With a glaze. They are sweet, they are tasty, they're a nice snack. They are enjoyable. Top bucket, walking along, handful in your mouth. Good, good, good. Energy boost. Let's try a coffee and refresh with a cold drink. Now again, this is the peanut butter energy bar. Quite firm, very similar texture to the First Strike rations you find in the US rations. So I'll take a little bite of that. There's crispies in there. Very much like the US First Strike bars. Quite firm, crispies. Not as sweet as I was expecting, to be fair, as an energy bar, but peanut butter flavour, very difficult to distinguish. To me, it tastes more like a caramel than a peanut butter, but again, a great top pocket item with the peanuts. When you're starting to flounder, you need that extra energy hit to keep you going. Those two, top pocket, would be perfect. A little bit too much to have all together, but a great in-between meal carry along pair of accessories there. Of course, we have the classic PB and jam, peanut butter and jam. So we have the bread. Let's try a little bit of the peanut butter on the bread. Try that first. Standard MRE peanut butter, quite thick, quite dry, similar to the US and the British MRE butters. I think they're probably all made by the same company, but that's a standard, good quality, enjoyable peanut butter. Now have a look at the jam, strawberry jam in this case. It's a nice thick jam. I can see the little seeds in there, like strawberry seeds. Good, decent, sweet fruit content. It's good. Obviously, the classic PB and J together. Wow. The best bread for any PB and J sandwich than any ration. Goes really well. Highlight of the ration is these plain hamburger buns. Not going to need Tabasco sauce. I don't think I like hot chili flavoured stew. Also, the Tic Tacs I've had before. I'm going to finish most of this as my meal, so I don't really want to have a mint just yet. But I think most people around the world know what Tic Tacs are. Just little candy mint flavoured breath fresheners. So, I'm going to leave it here. Overall, a very tasty, very enjoyable ration. Sweet as well and salty. A lot more sugar. An awful lot more sugar than the last Canadian IMPs I tried. I don't know if that is a trend. I shall have to be on the lookout for more of these newer versions and see if the sugar content has generally increased that much. Also the salt. Enjoyable mains, but very, very salty, even for my taste buds. So that is salty. But apart from that, it's enjoyable, it's tasty. There's nothing there I wouldn't eat again, and it would certainly do its job. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button for future videos coming very soon. So thank you and goodbye.